Hello, friends. Welcome or welcome back to Get Ready with America. My name is SJ, and I'm pretty excited about this video today. We're talking about a singular election for once, so I'm going to dig in a little deeper than usual. On Tuesday, June 1st, residents in New Mexico's 1st Congressional District will be voting in a special election to replace Deb Holland, our second Biden administration glow-up who left Congress to head the Interior Department. We'll talk about Holland's historic turn in federal politics before we talk about the candidates vying to replace her. We'll finish by talking about how to vote, which includes our first instance on this series of same-day voter registration. Our look today is a generic Southwest color scheme using the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. I also used this for last week's touch-up video about Pennsylvania's primary results, which I'll link in the cards if you missed it. To get more into the makeup weeds for a second, this palette is one I truly believe is slept on in the YouTube beauty community, which I think is crazy for it having such a wide variety of colors that look good on many skin tones. Just try not to drop yours. I got this at Ulta Beauty for 50% off during some sale in the last couple years, and I know that wasn't the only time it's been on sale, so if you are at all curious and see it on sale, definitely pick it up. Okay, that's been my makeup spotlight for this week. Let's get into politics. Deb Holland is a member of the Pueblo of Laguna and a 35th generation New Mexican. For reference, the American Revolution was about 8 generations ago. Her father was a combat Marine in Vietnam, and her mother was a Navy veteran who went on to serve in the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Holland put herself through higher education as a single mother, eventually earning a JD in Indian law from the University of New Mexico in 2006. She was the first chairwoman elected to the Laguna Development Corporation Board of Directors, where she oversaw business operations for the second largest tribal gaming enterprise in the state and successfully advocated for better policies and commitments to earth-friendly business practices. In 2012, she served as New Mexico's Native American vote director for the Obama re-election campaign. She ran for lieutenant governor in 2014 with gubernatorial candidate Gary King, and though they lost, that led to Holland being elected as the first Native American chairwoman of the Democratic Party of New Mexico in 2015, where she led the efforts to flip control of the State House of Representatives and Secretary of State, as well as pay off 7 years' worth of incurred debt. She decided to run for Congress in 2018 when the seat was being vacated by now Governor Michelle Juan Grisham. She won the seat as part of a sweep by Democrats in New Mexico of every statewide and federal election. She was one of 2 of the first Native American women elected to the House of Representatives. As a congresswoman, she was vice chair of the Committee on Natural Resources and chair of the Subcommittee on National Parks, Forests, and Public Lands. President-elect Biden announced his intention to nominate Holland as Secretary of the Interior because of her very obvious resume that aligns very well with the position that oversees the management and conservation of federal and tribal land and natural resources, as well as the relationship with the 574 federally recognized tribal nations. She was approved by the Senate on March 15th by a 51-40 vote because Republicans were mad she'd penalize businesses that don't take care of the environment, which is the Interior Secretary's job. By the way, she's the first Native American to hold the job of dealing with relations with natives. So far, in the office, she has established a new unit within the Bureau of Indian Affairs to address the epidemic of missing and murdered Native Americans that are very often ignored by local jurisdictions. Basically, Deb Holland is Banff, and I stan. This seems like the most perfect possible job for her experience, and we love to see it. New Mexico's first congressional district is in central New Mexico and made up of parts of 5 counties, including all of Torrance County and most of the state's largest city, Albuquerque. There are also several Native American pueblos in the district, though the demographic is predominantly white or Hispanic. The district was established 50 years ago after the state gained enough residents to split into 2 districts, and only 6 people have represented it. Fun fact, the first person to represent the district, Manuel Juan Jr., also served as Interior Secretary in the H.W. Bush administration, and he was also related to Governor Juan Grisham. The district turned Democrat in 2008, and Democrats have the advantage of registered voters. Hoping to keep the seat blue is State Rep. Melanie Stansberry. She's a scientist whose work has focused on land and water issues, and she's worked in the Obama administration and U.S. Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources. She first ran for her state house seat in 2018, and she's championed legislation that focuses on energy conservation and water resource management. Her environmental science background would do well in many of the committee assignments Holland had, plus her familiarity with Washington is also a bright spot on her resume. Republicans are hoping they can cash in on the off year and lots of turmoil to turn the seat back to red. State Senator Mark Moores has represented the 21st District since 2013, after several years as a staffer to former 1st Congressional Congressman Stephen Schiff and Chief of Staff to former Lieutenant Governor Walter Bradley. He is getting lots of support from the oil and natural gas industry, which provides jobs to New Mexicans at drilling sites, and he's pushing job growth in the state as one of his main issues. He is notably not mentioning Trump anywhere, because after sending in ICE raids to round up and deport undocumented immigrants, he's not very popular. Instead, Moores is pushing for robust police funding to address crime and border issues. He's a really solid candidate to put up for an election like this, and Democrats have been flaking hard this year on special elections, so this might be the chance Republicans have to take back the seat. There are also several third-party candidates that are running. Most prominent is independent Aubrey Dunn, who served as New Mexico Commissioner of Public Lands from 2015 to 2019. He was initially elected as a Republican but changed his party to Libertarian in 2018, which made him the first statewide elected Libertarian in the U.S. Prior to politics, Dunn was in the banking industry, serving as CEO and president of First Federal Bank of New Mexico. He also comes from a family of elected officials from all different parties. He didn't run as Libertarian this time because they had another candidate, Chris Manning, a former Army National Guard member who spent time in Afghanistan. He doesn't actually live in the district, which you don't have to, just in the state. And this has been part of the rallying cries against him from his own party, who argued that he didn't go through the proper process to get on the ballot for an official party in New Mexico, which the Libertarian Party is, because they've been getting at least 5% of the vote in elections. There are 2 official write-in candidates who had to file their intent to run with the Secretary of State, but their names don't appear on the ballot. So their campaign's job is to make sure people know who they are and how to spell their name, to literally write in their vote. The first candidate, Lara is a service industry and healthcare worker who's running on a very progressive platform and is also the only candidate with a bilingual website. She however, is not using that or her Twitter to explain to folks how they exactly vote for her, which means she either has no or very bad staff or doesn't actually care about getting votes. The other candidate, Robert Ornilus, doesn't even live in New Mexico, so I'm not sure why he's qualified. He filed with a California address and has run for president there as a write-in candidate in 2016. I can't find anything else about this guy, since the website he linked on the California Secretary of State site with his bio was for a Chinese app. So I guess he's just a major troll, maybe. Voting has already begun in the 1st District. Early voting is available at county clerk's offices as well as additional satellite locations and ends this Saturday, the 29th. The deadline is passed to request a mail-in ballot, so your options are early in-person or election day voting if you did not get a mail-in ballot. If you did receive a ballot in the mail, you have the option to drop it off at an early voting location or polling location on election day. As I mentioned at the top of the video, New Mexico will be using same-day voter registration for the first time this election. To register or update your info when you go to vote, you'll need either a state-issued license or ID, a proof of address plus photo ID, or a school-issued ID plus recent tuition receipt with your in-district address on it. There are also certain early voting locations who are doing the same-day registration, and you can find out which ones on the website linked in the description box. If you're voting on Election Day, June 1st, polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There are no designated polling locations to a voter specifically. You can go to any polling location within your home county to vote. This all almost feels like New Mexico wants voting to be as easy as possible. They don't have a voter participation campaign brand, but their general theme seems to be, we just want you to vote, and I'm here for it. I'm here for a lot of things with New Mexico today. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this deeper dive into the district and candidates than I normally do. I also hope you're also obsessed with Deb Holland now. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel to learn more about voting in other states. If you're enjoying this series and want to show big support, please check out my Patreon in the description box. I'll see you next week with the results of this race, and then in 2 weeks to talk about the New York City primaries. I'll spend every moment between now and then debating how much to rip on Andrew Yang. See you then.